Hello everybody, I'm Jake Johnston. Welcome to Jake's Showcase. I do videos on Wednesdays. Today, you've come here to hear a fable. And I'm going to tell you a fable called The Boy, the Lion, and the Cave. Now what a fable means is that there's a message to the story that I'm about to tell you. And I just made this up, so I hope you like it. Alright. So once upon a time, way back, long ago, there was a boy. This is back sort of in caveman times or in jungle times, when there wasn't really there was no technology, there was very little clothing, there was very little going on. Now the young boy, he was basically old enough now to be sort of out in his own a bit and sort of like looking around, sort of maybe looking for like a settlement. He was looking for some place to sort of live, some place to sort of, basically, reside at. And so he'd be walking around the jungle, he'd be walking around the sort of rivers, right? He'd be just kind of looking around. And then he finally sees this gorgeous mountain, this big mountain, really nice looking mountain, beautiful mountain. He really likes it. It's, got nice scenery, this and that. And inside of that mountain, or by the side of that mountain, there's a cave. Right? There's this big cave, right, that he sees. And he thinks, wow, I like that place. I think that would be a great place to live. So he thinks, I'm going to walk over to that cave, and I'm going to see what happens over in that cave there, and I think I'll make that my place where I'm going to live over there. So he's starting to get closer and closer to the cave of this mountain by this beautiful area, right? And he sees a lion. It's a pretty big lion, it's a lion. He's like, whoa, big lion there. Well, looks like that lion is kind of in and around and going in that cave there, and he thinks, oh, that doesn't look too good. There's a lion in the cave there, and he's not really sure what to do. Now, he's sort of strong, but not really, so he doesn't know what to do, and he decides he's going to, just sort of approach the lion there, and the lion growls at him real bad, and he kind of gets scared. He's like, whoa, that can't be too good. Well, I guess this is, must be the lion's cave there, right? So he's not really sure what to do. So he decides, well, the only way I can get that lion out of that cave, right, is I gotta get that lion, I gotta beat it, right, and get rid of it, right, so that there's no, so I got the cave to myself, right? So he goes and he grabs the lion and tries to grab the lion, one quick swoop, knocks him senseless, and he realizes, holy Jesus, God, that lion's strong. So he goes back sort of into the jungle there, and he's got to think, okay, well, how am I going to get in that cave with that big lion there? How am I going to do that, right? So he's thinking, okay, I got to figure out how to beat lions. I really don't know how to beat a lion at all. So he does his best thinking, right? And he thinks about, different ways that he can sort of attack the lion and get the lion there, get rid of the lion, right? So he goes back up. He goes back up to the lion there a couple days later, and he attacks the lion again, right? And the lion, 1, 2, 3, and the guy, he's totally knocked out, and all he's thinking, it didn't work, right? So he decides to run back to the jungle there, where he's like, oh my gosh, that lion's way stronger than I thought. I couldn't believe it, but he was really kind of into that cave. Oh my God, I want that cave. That's a beautiful cave. This would be a great place to settle down. So he really did some more thinking, really hardcore thinking. How can I figure out how to beat this lion? So that'll be my cave, and that lion, I gotta beat him. So this time he does a lot of sort of planning, much more planning, and realizing the strength. He's got some scars all over him, right? But he heals up there, and he decides this time he's got it, right? He does some working out, some push-ups, right? And he's all strong. He's feeling fit and ready to go. And this time, he runs right for the lion, and he wrestles, and he fights the lion and squeezes the lion, and eventually, he gets the lion. The lion's gone, dead there. He attacks the lion, And the lion finally gives up. Ugh. And he's like, oh, good. I beat the lion. I'm so happy. And he looks back towards the cave there, and he's like, oh, finally, I got the cave. So then he starts going. All of a sudden, there he is with his lion. Just before he even lets go, another lion comes out of the cave. Much bigger, more ferocious lion. Right? Much, much bigger and stronger lion also comes out of the cave. Almost twice the size of the first lion. Right? He's like, oh my God, what the hell is that? Right? So he right away takes off. He's exhausted from fighting that first lion. He takes off back to the jungle, and he's like, oh man, there's a second lion and a much bigger lion. Looks way more ferocious and stronger with the muscles and the teeth. And he had bigger teeth, everything. I didn't like that at all, that lion. So he starts to think, well, how am I going to get rid of that lion? Like, that lion is crazy big and looks crazy mean and tough. So he goes, and he thinks, well, I beat the first lion, right? So this lion, it's just twice as much. I'm just going to have to really work out and try to think of more strategies and get more stronger and tougher and get in there and fight that second lion, right? Because I love that cave. That's a gorgeous looking cave, right? So he gets ready. He knows that this lion is the toughest lion he's ever seen in his life, right? He's like, I got one lion down there. I'm going to go get this second lion so I can have that cave for me, right? So he gets ready. It takes him a while. Gets him a lot of strategy, a lot of ready to go. He's all pumped up, right? And goes back to the cave there. Out comes the lion, right? And he goes and he fights this huge lion. He fights him and fights him. This is the toughest, strongest. It's a huge fight. They're rolling around. And they're fighting, and it's just crazy. It's the fight to the death. Right? It's exhausting. And somehow, again, he's able to kill the lion. Right? He's like almost dead himself. You can't believe it. So exhausted. Right? But he beat the lion, the big king lion, right? And he looks back to the cave, right? And 3 more lions come out of the cave. 3 of them, just as big, if not bigger than the one he just beat, and twice the size of the first one, right? These lions, but this time these lions aren't waiting around. They got 3 lions here. This guy is trouble, and they start running after this guy. All 3 of them, right? They're crazy. They're out for blood, right? These lions, this guy, he just gets off this second lion here. He's like, oh my God, 3 lions, I'm toast. There is no way this cave. Oh my God. So he starts running right through the jungle, and these lions, they don't want to be waiting around. They're chasing after this guy. They got 3 of them going here, this side, that side, the next side. Right? The guy's running. He's like, oh my goodness, oh my God. As he goes under the hill, over the tree, through the river, right? He keeps running, and somehow he thinks of different ways to lose his smell so that the lions can't smell him anymore. And finally, he gets away from the lions. They give up on chasing him. So this guy, he's like, oh man, that cave. You know what? Oh, I don't know, these lions, it's too much, man. I don't know how many lions are in that cave, man. It's a nice cave, but them lions are there. Them lions are there, and I ain't messing with them lions. So a bunch of time goes by, right? And he thinks, well, that was still a really nice sort of area, that mountain there. I really liked it. I really like that out mountain area. It gets a little bit older, right? He's like, well, I'm going to go back towards that area there, right? He's all healed up. The big fights with the lions have really scarred him and injured him and it really hurt him, right? So he gets back towards the same area there by that jungle there and sees this mountain. Oh, man, it was just as beautiful as he remembered. He loves the mountain, right? So he decides, well, all right, well, this time, I think I'm going to go a little bit around this mountain here, see what else is around here, right? And he keeps going and going around the mountain. Not too far, mind you, but just sort of around that mountain. he sees a really nice area over here. Right? He sees a cave. Right? He sees another cave, right? And he goes in there, he looks around. It's pretty nice, you know. Nice cave, nice area, and no lions. There's not even one lion in there. He looks around. He says, you know what? I like this. This is pretty darn good. I like this. This is really good. Actually, this is even better. It's got a little bit better of a view, and it's got some better trees over there and some nicer water over there, right? I'm going to make this my home, right? So then he decides to settle inside of them where there's no lions, and he thinks this is a good choice, right? And that's the story. So the moral of the story is, and this is a saying that I heard from an old Asian man who told me this a long time ago, and I've loved the saying and I've lived by the saying for all of my life. I learned this when I was about 11 years old. And that man told me, he says, if you learn how to fight, the fight will come to you. If you don't learn how to fight, no fight will come to you. So it's always better to take the easier way. That's right. And don't go to where the fight is ready for you. Alright, I hope you liked that story, everybody. Alright, thanks for watching Jake's Showcase. Don't forget to like the video below and subscribe to the channel up above. I do my videos on Wednesdays, and I hope you have a wonderful day.